Good evening, Brownsville. Welcome to another segment or series, rather, called Crossroads Live. We're actually here at transmitting live at the Pyramid, part of BTV's new programming, bringing you something different to entertain you at home. And we're here at the Pyramid, which is on Ruben Torres Boulevard, which is also home to the Brownsville Convention and Visitors Bureau. So I'm excited to be here with my friend, my amigo, El Presidente, literally, actually, Mr. Mike Quantz, president of the Brownsville Society for the Performing Arts. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
How's your we were talked about this right before the show, right? You're on your 27th or 28th panic attack of the day.
Yes, I believe we just finished with the 28th panic attack for the day. But this is pretty normal for festival production. I think I'm slightly behind the curve on those.
All right, now Mike, you need to tell me something because I'm slowly but surely assimilating myself to everything Brownsville. And I'm so excited to bring you here for this segment because I'm really excited to pick your brain and tell me about what's going on with this festival that's just around the corner, the 25th annual Latin Jazz Festival. Tell me more about this.
Well, as you said, 25 years is quite a milestone. And it all started with this idea from our late great president, George Ramirez, who was the creator of this annual event, which is the only one in the state of Texas, one of the biggest Latin jazz festivals in the country. And with this event, George expanded the whole mission of the Brownsville Society for the Performing Arts. Which really became something that went deeply into the community, crossed every walk of life, every demographic and age group in our town. And of course, George was a stickler for perfection and fit so well into the mission of the Brownsville Society for the Performing Arts, which is to present world-class musical production for Brownsville. So George started with Tito Puente 25 years ago, and we've had just a continuum of Latin Grammy winners since then. We've had Bobby Sanabria and Poncho Sanchez, and the upcoming one on Friday the 15th is Emilio Soja and one of his bands, La Inestable de Brooklyn. We are one of the biggest. We've had an incredible history, and we just want to keep going bigger and better on these events. So we have 2 days coming up, the 15th and the 16th, one at the TSC Performing Arts Center with Emilio Soja, Latin Grammy winner, and then Saturday, a list of bands in Linear Park, starting at
before we get too down into the details.
Okay.
You gotta tell me, you gotta give me some intel, the scoop of this dynamic person, this figurehead that was here in Brownsville, Mr. George Ramirez, who unfortunately I wasn't able to meet, but man, there's not a person that I interact with here in the beautiful city of Brownsville that does not say a fantastic thing about Mr. Ramirez. Tell me more about him.
George was one of those people that you meet that is more comfortable in his own skin than anybody else, that is very genuine and very fun to be around. One of my favorite things about George was the way he told stories. Beyond all of the things that he did to benefit the community and the arts and performing arts, which was continuously in every way you can imagine. But he told a story that would just tickle you to death. And it could be about any topic. And he loved the kind of stories with twists. And his mind just picked those up from just life experience. And I know personally as a music teacher in town, I wouldn't have been able to do half the things for my students and other elements of the community in music ed without his massive support.
He has a huge legacy, and I want to talk a little bit more of that because, I mean, he not only did he build this nonprofit organization, but also you have a building dedicated to supporting music for our youth, and then you also have a radio station. So can you talk about all these different elements that Mr. Ramirez kind of put together, all for Brownsville?
Sure. So the first meeting that George brought me in to the VSPA on was 21 years ago, and he asked me to come early, so we set up some spreadsheets, and George had these giant spreadsheets like Venn diagrams, and we had to tape them together because it was his vision of what VSPA could be. And so in the center was Brownsville Society.
Like a vision board?
Yeah. It was his presentation, and we're going to tape up on the wall. And you got to remember, it's 21 years ago. And so we were doing that, and as I was helping him put this master plan together, it was BSPA in the middle, and then every arts and cultural organization, in South Texas, basically, with an arrow pointing to BSPA. So his vision was to connect the elements that are life enriching to the community to a kind of a productive chain reaction. And he was enormously successful doing that. And so besides the Latin Jazz Festival, besides several other festivals, guitar, flamenco, the Christmas concerts, that he was solely responsible for reinstituting in Brownsville that had like a 25-year history previous to that of doing this annual Christmas concert. He came back and revitalized that. But he spent, first in the George Ramirez Performing Arts Academy, he spent a good 9 years working with the city of Brownsville and a HUD project in very complicated circumstances to create an opportunity for Brownsville to do something for the poorest zone in our community, which is already a poor community. And he got a hold of the architects, he got a hold of the engineers, he got a hold of everybody it took, and he was basically the linchpin that created this building that is beautifully designed in its renovation to teach kids music. And the deal with this is 51% of the kids forever that study music there have to come from the LMI zone in that area, and they don't pay for anything forever.
Wow.
And it's based on a kind of El Sistema model, like from Venezuela, where it's a community organization to uplift the children and give them opportunities they would never have. So that's just the George Ramirez Performing Arts Academy. That was a 9-year project involving $6 million overall. Then,
isn't that crazy how, it all starts with a passion for something. Some have a passion for sports, some have a passion for acting. In this case, is a passion for music and bringing that on a big stage here for the Brownsville community. I think that's just so awesome. I myself grew up with music. My dad was an electronic engineer, DJ. I also dabbled in the radio. And yourself, you also love music. You're a music teacher. You play guitar. Tell me about that, about being passionate for something so much that you actually do something so impactful.
It's kind of a scary proposition in some way, because people get so passionate about something that they completely disregard all the barriers and what ifs and dangers involved in something. And that I think really was kind of the heart and soul of George's MO. He was an audacious person. Why would anybody think that Brownsville would have the most significant Latin Jazz Festival in the southwestern United States? Why would they think that he would help build the second largest classical guitar event in the whole country in Brownsville? Why would they think that we have a performing arts academy in the El Sistema model? Why do you think we would also generate a community radio station that whose mission is to develop arts, community, economy, to provide emergency broadcasting, and all these other things, to partner with all elements of our community, to give everybody a voice and to give people the opportunity to have information for opportunity? That's audacious stuff.
Very, very interesting. And then, you mentioned it several times in terms of this Latin festival. How big is this of an impact for the region?
Well, it first of all brings in a special event that's enriching to the lives of people that participate. That's an immeasurable boost to the community. It makes us feel good, it makes us enjoy life, and it makes us gather in a way that's very convivial, completely apolitical, and just a sharing of something that is a really life-affirming kind of thing. There's dancing, there's food, there's fabulous music that runs the gamut, and if we pigeonhole things, Latin jazz, people think of that as a small thing. No, it's Miami, it's Caribe, it's a la Cubana, which is totally separate. Brazilian, Argentine, Honduran even. And then there's Miami, and there's Fort Lauderdale, and they don't have the same either.
This is the biggest festival held is it in the state or the nation?
I think in the region, for sure. It's the only annual one in the state.
In the state?
Yeah.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And talk about how how do you come up with it? Is this like you all get together and be like, hey, I'm going to bring Tito Puente, or hey, I'm going to bring Che Correa, or how do you come up with these with just the lineups?
Well, we try and start as early as we can, and start compiling a list, and we kind of keep the list of artists that interest us, right? And we want to try and bring in the highest possible quality for the resources that we have, and to have something of import to the community in terms of quality of music, but also for the young and developing musicians. So we invite local musicians always, and hopefully there's a lot of really good interaction and clinics whenever possible.
That's awesome to hear.
I know.
Really awesome stuff. We followed you all along throughout the year, and kudos to you and your team and the entire organization for really putting something out for the community. Now, Mike, we gotta pay the lights, so we're gonna go ahead and take a little break,
Sure.
play a couple of PSAs and some commercial segments. So we're gonna go ahead and cut to that.
Why do I love this city? It's the perfect backdrop to discover your piece of paradise and find adventure in every corner. So why wait any longer? Visit Brownsville today. And while you're here, get on the taco trail, where we celebrate award-winning tacos in South Texas. Hurry, get your taco pass at visitbtx.com.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills. Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot?
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Volver a vivir esos momentos comienza con protegerlos contra el COVID-19 y sus peligrosas variantes nuevas. Obtén la información más reciente en detidepende.org o consulta con tu pediatra o proveedor de servicios médicos.
We're back to Brownsville Television's Crossroads Live, a new series of programming that we want to get out to the community, not only to inform you what's going on in Brownsville, but we also want to give you just those little tiny bits of entertainment. Starting with the Latin Jazz Festival. The 25th annual Latin Jazz Festival is just around the corner, Mike. And tell me who you're bringing. Who are the acts that you're bringing this Friday and Saturday in Brownsville, Texas?
Well, you asked earlier about what that process is, and we go through a lot of different performers and we try and create a nice mix. So the first performer is a Latin Grammy winning performer, Emilio Solja. He's an Argentine pianist and composer, and this guy composes the range of music like you wouldn't believe. It's kind of like a cross between Chick Corea and Astor Piazzolla and all kinds of other things, but it's a real unique kind of fusion of Latin styles. And he's written for orchestras, bands, combos, solos, everything you could imagine. And the range of the kind of expression in it is from really esoteric, super complicated stuff to really smooth kind of interweaving rhythms to something that's just simple and beautiful.
He has a latest album here. I just playing it up here. Puertos, music from international waters.
Yeah.
Very interesting album.
It is, and he did that with his tango band and the tango players. And Puertos refers to a kind of migration and ports being areas of transit. And each of the tunes deals with migration in some way or another. And it deserves all the accolades that it's gotten.
Really? Is this the first time that he plays here in Brownsville, Texas?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And that's one of the cool things about it. We have so many fantastic musicians to choose from. We feel fortunate in being able to kind of create that mix.
Now tell me, what are you expecting? This type of musician, I mean, is world-renowned, Grammy-winning. I would assume that you get all, jazz fanatics from all over the country to come into Brownsville just to tune in to this amazing ensemble, right?
Absolutely. We expect people from all over the state to be coming in, at least because as far as I know, he's never played South Texas. We're looking at anybody who is a true, especially Latin jazz aficionado, they're going to want to see Emilio because they've already heard about him and they already know the level of the musicianship that he creates, the music that he writes, the performers that he plays with, absolutely top notch.
And where is this going to happen?
The Friday concert on the 15th starts at 7 o'clock at the TSC Performing Arts Center. One of the cool things about doing this is we were able to offer this as a first come, first served entry event. That is, we're asking people to wear masks, and your mask is your ticket to the event.
No way, really?
Yeah, way. We're going to have social distancing in the auditorium. We're going to take up to 400 people. That's a decent size, right?
Wow.
It's a great venue. If you've ever been in the TSC Performing Arts
So
Center,
wait,
it's amazing.
your ticket is your
mask on your face. That's your ticket. Wow. So we're gonna queue up the folks that arrive, and we let everybody in. And when we reach 400, we're gonna have probably me be apologizing to everyone profusely and say, please come to our next event tomorrow, starting at 6 o'clock.
You get to watch a Grammy award-winning artist at an amazing facility, top notch, and your ticket to get in is a face cover.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm gonna hold you to it, Mike.
Oh, okay. It's already on the advertisement, so I'm stuck with it.
Well, that's awesome. And then on Saturday, let's talk about Saturday because this is a cool one. I've heard about the Superfonicos for a long time now. I've seen them play a couple times in Austin, Texas, and you all were able to bring them down here. Let's talk about that.
Well, as you said, Superfonicos comes from Austin. The forming group of members of the band from Venezuela. When we were looking at our artists, we like to bring somebody that's established, and we like to bring some artists that are like up and coming. Okay? And Superfonicos like fits that bill to a T. They have a unique sound that is a really cool fusion of funk and salsa and merengue and Cubano kind of music, just like all of these cool, unique combinations. And like I was saying before, I'm a huge fan of funk, going back to the early 70s, and just like, this is so awesome to see a contemporary group and these guys doing such a great job at such a classic kind of pop idiom, fusing it into a kind of a Venezuelan context. It's really cool.
They also draw a big audience from a huge realm on the spectrum, right? I mean, I've seen the kids listen to them all the way up to older folks, and it's really interesting to kind of see that unity all in the concert, right?
Well, and that's what we really go for, especially on that the Saturday event. This one's going to be at Linear Park at the Midi-Cultural District, right next to the Gladys Porter Zoo and the Brownsville Museum of Fine Art.
Oh, so this is at Linear Park, outside?
Yeah, outside.
Outside venue.
Yeah.
The weather's starting to come around.
Yeah.
Starting to be nicer to us. That's going to be a lot of fun, right? Underneath the moonlight, the stars, and the nice little twilight, the Christmas lights that are out there, huh?
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful environment outside the trees and the lights. It adds a really nice vibe to the place. So we have multiple acts. We have Dr. Josiah Bornasian, who's from UTRGV. He is the jazz guy from the university. He's setting up a duo to start the evening's music off at 6 o'clock. And interspersed between all these acts, we have dancers, salsa dancers, organized and directed by Omar Oropesa. So that's very entertaining to watch too, always appropriate for Latin jazz, right? And then we have, starting at about 7:30, H de Barrio, okay, our old friends coming back this year. And then about 9 o'clock, Superfonicos is going to finish out the evening. There are vendors, there's food, there's items for sentimental purchases and all that sort of thing. So it's really, getting this into the community or out into the community so anybody can participate. And to get more information about parking and that sort of thing, everybody can go to artsinbrownsville.org and click on the link for the Latin Jazz Festival and give you all the information.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. I'm really excited to attend my first Latin Jazz Festival. I'm serious. I mean, this is kind of one of the rite of passage to officially.
You can become a Brownsvillian.
A Brownsvillian, right? I'm so excited about it. Again, for everything that the Brownsville Society of the Performing Arts has done, George Ramirez's legacy, everything that we've done together, right? I really appreciate you, Mike, and the entire team for letting us also broadcast our messaging on the radio station. It really takes a tribe, right? It's a partnership. I'm really excited to get this out to the community, and most importantly, also tell Brownsville's story outside the city limits, and let them know that we're really at the crossroads of the hemisphere, not only for taking on Boca Chica to Mars, but also taking on the arts and culture and bringing that vibe down to South Texas. How's that?
It's really good. We got a lot going on here.
Where can we go buy tickets? Well, wait, we're not buying tickets.
No tickets this year.
It's a face
for
mask.
Friday, for the indoor concert, it's a face mask. That is your ticket, okay?
Saturday?
And we'll even have extra tickets there in case you don't have one.
Nice.
And
Okay.
Saturday, it's everybody is invited to enjoy the vendors, the nice evening, and fabulous music and dance at Linear Park. Starting, basically, we'll have things ready to go at 5. Downbeat on the first musicians is going to be 6 o'clock.
All right. Well, El Presidente, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so
Gracias.
much for coming down to the Pyramid, right? Home of Brownsville Television Studios. And stay tuned for another episode of Crossroads Live here, broadcasting at the Pyramid.